Hello everyone, welcome to Tangle with Tracy Anne. In today's video, I'll be showing you 5 fun tangles on a black background. So you don't need much equipment. I'm using a piece of A4 cardstock and I've cut it into 3 bookmarks and I've traced around 2 3.5 inch tiles. So the bookmarks are 2 inch wide and 8 inch long. You could just draw these squares, 3.5 inch squares, but I've drawn around an actual Zentangle tile. I'll be mainly using 2 pens today, a white gel pen and a gold gel pen. I'll use a regular graphite pencil and maybe later on a little bit of white charcoal pencil. The first tangle I'm doing is Dynafloor by Suzanne Fluke, CZT, and I'm starting with 4 dots and a border, just using a graphite pencil. Once I've got that done, I'm going to begin with a gold gel pen, and I'm going to start in one corner. This tangle just starts with a fluke kind of a shape, and I'm colouring in the head. You could leave it blank if you wanted to. And from here I'm going to just bring off a series of branches, just the same as the ones that I did right at the beginning. Just find a little spot somewhere on those branches that you've already drawn and come out with another pair of fluke type branches. I'm now going to change to my white gel pen and aura around the tops of each of those branches. So around that little dewdrop shape, and I'm doing 2 auras around each one. Still using my white gel pen, I'm going to do a series of little curved shapes that aura in the corners. And I might not necessarily do this in every corner, just where I think it looks right. They look a little bit like spider webs. To finish off this tile, I'm going to trace over the border, first of all with my white pen, and when I come to part of the pattern that's overlapping the border, I just go around it. Once I've done one border with white, I'm going to aura that with the gold pen. To finish off, I'll add my initials, and there's a bit of a space there, so that's where I'm going to put my chop. On my other square tile, I'm going to draw Frost Flower by Carrie Hewen, and again I'm starting with 4 dots and a border. Starting with my white gel pen, I'm going to form a cross and then dissect that cross by drawing another cross. From here, I'm going to start oaring one of the sides. Once I've done that, I'm going to turn the tile and do the same thing on the next line. Continue this until you get right around this whole circular shape. So that's your basic frost flower tangle. I'm going to add some more of these. Now I've changed to my gold pen and I want them to overlap a little bit. So this one's a little bit bigger, but I'm using exactly the same technique as I go around and finish this tangle. Once I get round to the other side where the white part is, just stop as if it's sitting behind the white frost flower. I'm going to continue adding this pattern, and each time I'm changing my pen so that I have a nice even look about where the gold and white sit, and sort of make that judgment as you go along. And you can have some bigger, some smaller, some overlapping, and some just sitting on their own. It's entirely up to you. And you can see here I'm going into the border a little bit. Don't let the border stop you. I sometimes find it looks better to have a little bit of an overlap where the border is, but again, that's entirely up to you. Whoops, I went the wrong way there. I'll just go over it. It's only a tiny bit, so you won't notice in the long scheme of things. Don't let it bother you if you make little mistakes. As they say, no mistakes in Zentangle. To finish off, I'm just going to add a border exactly the same as I did on my first tile. Drawing a white border first and then a gold. I'm drawing Adante by Lily Moon on a bookmark shape, and it starts off with a wavy pattern, and I'm doing this in white. Once I've got all the way along my whole bookmark, I'm going to come to this curved shape and continue that line and draw a little swirl. Then I'm going to do the same at the top of the next hump. Continue this along the whole pattern. I'll just add that little end bit now that I know where the pattern is going. So again, another swirl. Go back to the top hump and keep going all the way along. For the next part of the pattern, I'm going to join that little swirl to the wavy line to make like a little hump. So do that on each one. And once we form these little humps, I'm going to aura that curved line. This forms little stripes. I'm going to colour every second stripe along here, leaving a little bit of a window in the centre. If I was drawing this with black pen, that centre bit would look like a little highlight. And I'm not being smooth where I leave that little window. It's got a bit of a jagged look to it, and that's part of the effect. So go along and do that with all the shapes. As I go along, I'm going to just thicken these lines a little bit too and neaten them up, because you can see where that looks very bumpy. So if I just go over it, it's good to take your time and reinforce lines if they need it. It just gives a much smoother, more professional look to your finished drawing. Using my gold gel pen, I'm going to form little triangles in each of these sections. Once we've finished the triangles, we can fill them with fine stripes. To create a bit of interest, I'm going to add some contrast by making the outside lines thicker. Keep the inside lines nice and fine and the outside lines heavier. So that's the actual finish pattern of a dente. If you like, you can add some bordering lines, which I might do, starting with the white gel pen. And I've gone a little bit wonky, as you can see, so I might thicken that line a little bit. And that's one way of fixing up wonky lines. Just thicken them up, neaten them up. Then no one would even know you went wonky in the first place. Gel pens can get a little bit streaky looking, so it's really important to have a very light touch. Lift your pen up and so that the ink can flow a little bit more easily. If you're still having no success, let the gel pen dry and then come back and try again. I'm going to create a second line now in gold, and you can see I haven't got a lot of space here, so I'm not sure how it's going to work out. So far so good. Oops, now I've gone a bit thick. So there's two things I could do here. I could either colour the whole edge in gold, or I could take a black pen, and in this case I'm going to use this Uniball Eye fine pen and just touch up the edge. It just neatens it up a little bit and gets rid of that thick gold part. This next tangle is Ovi by Adam Rhodes, and it starts with a wavy line. Now I'm going to aura that wavy line. Then I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom edge. So put in a wavy line and then draw in a second aura. I probably could have gone on the inside of that line because I haven't left much space on the edge, but not to worry. Okay, the next step is to make some circles in the center, and I've chosen to do these in gold. So make them fairly evenly spaced along the center of those parallel lines. And then I'm filling them in, leaving a little circle window at the top. Again, if you had been drawing this with on a white paper, that little hole would look like a highlight on a bead. I've gone back to my white gel pen and I'm just drawing a little curved line underneath that circle. It just looks like it's sitting on top of a rope. And do that underneath each one all the way along the bookmark. Now go back and aura each one of these curved lines. I'm now going to trace around the edge of each of those gold circles and then aura that line. The next step is to draw some parallel lines right up the center, joining each of the sections. Now I'm going to aura those curved lines. So that's the actual pattern, but I want to just highlight it a little bit, and I'm going to thicken up some of the lines, not all of them, just these parallel lines along the center and just around that little gold ball. I'm leaving the auras in the center of this pattern thin, just so that I have a little bit of contrast. I'll just do this little section at the bottom and have a look at the whole thing, and you can see how it stands out a little bit more where I've added those thicker lines. So I've continued the whole way. I'm not quite sure about this gold pen. I thought I might just do one single line, but my lines are a little bit too narrow here, so I might have to go back in and colour that whole section, and that looks a little bit better. Everything's a bit of trial and error. You just try something out, see if it works. If it doesn't, change it. Now you could leave the pattern how it is, or you could add a little bit of white charcoal pencil. I'm only putting it at that top and then blended it with my tortillon, and we'll see how this looks. If you feel that's a little bit too much, you can always come in with your eraser and get rid of some of that white charcoal pencil. Or if you don't like it at all, you can just rub the whole lot out. But I'll leave a little bit and I'll just sort of blend it a little bit more. And I feel that's slightly better. And I might come back and add some little gold dots. For my final example, this tangle is called Pash or Patch by Judy Okawa, and it starts with a bumpy line. Then we come back and do the same thing, but you can see the middle of the bump touches the corners, one sitting in the other. Okay, from here I'm going to draw some straight lines going from that center of the bumps, and then aura the bump underneath. This is a fun tangle because when it's finished it looks a little bit like the paper chains that you make at Christmas time. So I've done that edge, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing in the other direction. So first of all, draw your lines and then aura those bumps. To finish off this tangle, we're going to imagine that this is part of a loop. So we're drawing little bumps along the edge. Do it on both sides. So once you've done one side, continue the bumps on the other. And now it's starting to look more like that paper chain I was talking about. And that's the actual tangle. So let's embellish this a little bit. I've drawn these little stars with gold, and I'm going to continue up to that little bump above it so it looks like it's part of that same loop. Now with my white gel pen I'm going to draw some stripes, and these are in every second one as well. I'm going to use the same two patterns for the top part, but I'm switching the colours. So I'm doing these stripy bits in gold, and then in every second one I'll do the stars in white. Remember to continue that loop by adding the same pattern to that top little bump. Now that I've finished this, I'm going to add just a few touches. I'm going over those white original lines with my gold gel pen wherever I've got the gold pattern. And alternatively, where I've got the white pattern, I'll thicken up those white lines. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, do that so that you don't miss out on future videos. Until next week, stay safe and bye for now. If you'd like to see more of my videos, head over to my YouTube channel, or there are a couple of links here on the screen, and there's the subscribe button.